menswear, like men's formal fashion. So I designed my breastplate after a vest. So if you'll notice, the bottom edge is got the little scallop in the middle like it was a vest that was buttoned up. And it has those two little hatches on the sides there, which have little brass latches and little knobs and little hinges to be reminiscent of pockets that you would see on a men's vest. So I keep my pocket watch in there and my little pouch of pipe tobacco or whatnot. The vest plate I created from orthopedic polypropylene, which is an interesting little sort of plastic that we stumbled across in our dumpster diving expeditions. It's apparently used to make casts. I would never have guessed. I just looked inside of a dumpster and I saw what looked like 1,000 ground-up stormtroopers. And jackpot. So, when you see a find that sweet, you don't question it. You just fill your car up with it and you drive away. So, it can be a bit problematic because of how flexible it is. It's very, very problematic to paint. It doesn't really like spray paint because as it flexes, even if you sand it, the spray paint just cracks off, and then you start crying and punching the walls and drinking heavily. So don't worry about that. But the best thing to do is to use rub and buff. And rub and buff is a little waxy substance. It's some kind of waxy, pasty putty with metal flakes in it. So it's actually got real metal going on in there, which is nice. And it creates a really, really amazing finish when you rub and buff. No, it's genius marketing. So you just squirt it on your finger and you just keep buffing it until it's dry, and then it looks fantastic. It's amazing stuff. I love it, and it's really great for putting on things that are sort of flexible. If you have, say, a project that you want to do and you want it to be really lightweight and you don't really want to deal with power tools, you can get some craft foam from Walmart or Hobby Lobby or wherever they sell craft foam, and get yourself some Sobo, which is a flexible fabric glue, and you coat the fabric, or the, Hey, there we go, foam. Thank you. Guys, I'm back. Good to know. So you coat the foam with the Sobo, and it creates a barrier that fills up all the pores in there. So at that point, you can apply any kind of paint you want to it, and it won't look like foam anymore. It'll look like armor, or metal, or plastic, or however, depending on what you do. You can use Sobo on that, and the Sobo is nice and flexible, so it won't peel off. So you can create some pretty cheap and easy, effective methods of making some little armor pieces for yourself if you're not so inclined to whipping out a bandsaw or some other form of loud, obnoxious, noise-making disaster machine. So the basis of the vest was that polypropylene, which is just a fancy way of saying plastic, and orthopedic being that they use it to make casts, and the interesting byproduct of it is that it comes lined with foam. So the inside of it is foam lined, and then I've got the little straps on there that strap it onto me so that I can't bend very well. But it looks so cool, so who might argue? It's got little brass rivets all over it, and I just found a bunch of brass nails, a box of brass nails at Hobby Lobby or Home Depot. You take a pair of clippers and you just snip off most of the nail, leaving just a little bit, and then you glue it in there, one painstaking little brass nail at a time. The symbol on the front I cut from a sheet of brass using a Dremel tool and a pair of tin snips. So I definitely recommend you guys look into a Dremel tool if you want to get into some crafting, because those things are so versatile. There's really no end to the uses. I've got a clamp that makes it into a table saw. It's like got a saw blade on it that's reciprocating. It just, and then it clamps onto a table, and you just feed things right through it. It's amazing. They're really, really great. And they have a bunch of different models, from really expensive to not so bad. So they have some battery-operated ones, which I don't personally recommend because I'm not very patient, and I don't like to wait for them to recharge, and I don't feel like buying two batteries so that, you have one recharging while you're using the other, and then you swap them out. It's an effective method, but it costs a bit more than I'd care. I prefer the corded ones, even if you do have to deal with the hassle of a cord. The corded models also tend to be more high-powered, so you tend to be able to get through things like steel if you're drilling or cutting or whatever. So Dremel tools, if you've never used them, it's just basically a It's kind of like a drill, only smaller.